Sales Babble is sponsored by Outreach.io and Habanero Media. This is the Sales Babble Podcast, episode 370, How Sellers Are Their Own Business, an interview with Dan Jourdon.
Welcome to Sales Babble, the podcast that shares selling secrets for non-sellers. And now your host, Pat Helmers.
Hello, Sales Babblers. This is Pat Helmers. And from my point of view, all salespeople are entrepreneurs. If you're a commission seller, your success is 100% dependent upon your efforts. You're on your own. And since no one gives you work, you have to go get it. So it's not a stretch to consider your employer just another paying client. And if you're in sales, you're a business owner. By taking on this worldview, it changes your entire mindset, according to this week's guest, Dan Jourdon. Learn how sellers are their own little business. But before we do that, here's a message from our sponsor. Today's podcast is brought to you by Outreach.io. Outreach helps sales reps to not only close deals, but to close more deals faster. Their platform offers a suite of automation, workflows, efficiency tools, and insights that help teams engage with leads more effectively. Outreach is the #1 sales engagement platform on the market today for a reason. It's a must-have software solution for any revenue team looking to optimize and scale their business. Schedule a demo with Outreach today to get started. Welcome, Dan. Are you ready to babble again?
I am ready to babble.
This is our second shot at this, and I mucked up the first one. Or I should say the technology mucked it up. I hate taking responsibility for my problems. I don't know how you are about that.
I'm a big fan of taking responsibility. It takes all the wind out of everybody's sails. When you make, yeah, and your own as well. I found that, when something really messes up, or I really messed up, or it just messed up, I immediately take blame and then move on.
Okay. So maybe I should take the blame here.
Well, I already took it. It's gone. It's mine, baby.
You are all about optimizing the sales process, right?
Yes. Yeah. Optimizing and making everything optimistic. Yes.
And what I would like to do today is, if possible, put you in the shoes of a regular sales rep, who's trying to make a quota, which is very hard these days. Where are people wasting time? Where are people mucking up when it comes to lead generation, prospecting, qualifying them, getting that appointment, which is such a hard thing to do. It's so hard to get that appointment.
Yes. It's hard to get that appointment when you're doing things like everybody else is doing them. And because people very quickly get used to that and realize that it's a sale. I mean, when someone approaches you on LinkedIn and has that same canned thing, hey, just want to see if there's a good fit to set up a 5-minute thing, and that it's going out to 1 billion people, it's so impersonal that you kind of just forget that it's even there. And I think people waste a lot of time trying to get the perfect verbiage to be delivered in a fashion that's automated, and then they spend the rest of the day questioning why it didn't work. That's probably the biggest thing.
So what would be an example of where people could be doing this right versus wrong?
You know what? Now I'm gonna be a little backwards with what I'm gonna say right here, because I'm of the everybody always says, listen, you want to work smart and not hard, and I am just of the kind of old school, hell be damned, Eastern European immigrant, streets are paved with gold. Don't give me anything. I'll figure out how to do it in your face, get a sale, get a customer type of attitude. And so when I see people like that, and I see people that are really successful growing up in, my community growing up, these type of people who really, these people that came from these like Jewish immigrants that came from another country, like my dad, would come here. Nobody expected to ever get into middle management. There was no, hill to climb in that way. And so everybody had to own their own little businesses and figure out how to get a customer. And when you wake up in the morning and you think, how do I meet a new person today? How do I get a new customer today? Just that energy that you're putting out creates some sort of motion. And so for when someone's just starting out, a new sales rep that's looking to get appointments and get new things moving, baby, talk to more people. Talk to more people. You could do it on the phone. You could do it from referrals. You could talk to previous customers. You could talk to friends. You could just talk to more people and put that energy out, that motion out. And if you provide enough value, I'll stop talking in a minute here, but you got me babbling. So here I go. If you provide enough real value to anyone that you're talking to, it creates a hole, a void in the universe. And while you never expect you to be repaid back from that person you talk to, you can 100% expect to be paid back from the universe, because the universe has to be even Steven. It has to be day and night. There has to be good and bad. There has to be cold and hot, and it will always even itself out. And so if you want to get those appointments, man, talk to more people, give more value, put it all out there, start the engine, and then it'll just feed back to you in multitudes.
There is a lot there that you said, but there's a lot there that wasn't said. So let me double down on some questions here. You said that you need to talk to everybody, but not everybody is your client. What would you say to people? And I really like the idea, I should say this, of you should be picking up the phone, or you should be constantly talking to people all day, because if you put that kind of energy out there, it's going to come back somehow. But what do you say to people who aren't necessarily your clients, or you're unsure? Or I think that's where people get stuck, is like, what do I say?
Yeah. Well, it's not what do I, the real question is, what can I give? What can I add? What can I do? The answers are always found in the mirror. So if I were to call you and I didn't know you, I saw you on LinkedIn, and I somehow got your number. I called you up. You answered the phone. I say, Pat Helmers, this is Dan Jourdon, and you may or may not know me, but we're linked in together. And I have a policy, Pat, and that policy is that I call anybody who has the guts to put their telephone number on their website or on their LinkedIn profile.
God bless
I give them a call. And so you're the lucky winner today, Pat. How is it I can help you? And 9 times out of 10, they do exactly what you just did. They laugh. And I just made a real contact there, because I got you to laugh. The value that I just gave you is you feel a little better after talking to me than before.
Here's the second part about adding value. What does that mean?
Yeah, well, great question. I was thinking about that this morning on the way to work. It's not added value. It's just value. It's just value. It's just giving of yourself to someone. It's picking up the trash when you're walking into the supermarket and throwing it out in the garbage before you go in. It's being that person. It's not what you what you're going to ask or what the value is. It's who you become. Who are you? And if you're the type of person that looks for ideas for somebody, or tries to figure out how they can connect somebody, or just thinks of how you could help somebody. Listen, the best way to get in touch with a contact that you really want to get in touch with? Bring them a customer.
Yeah.
Hey, Pat, listen, I know we haven't met. I've seen your work. It's awesome. I have a friend of mine that could really use your help. I just want to see if I can make an introduction. Would that be okay? If so, please give me a call back. You think I'll get a call?
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, but pick pictures, Dan. Let's say you work for me, which is you. By the way, you never want to work for me. I'm a terrible boss.
I do have a lead for you. We'll talk about it after.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So I would say, Dan, I see you're adding a lot of value out there. You're really talking to these customers, but you're not bringing any business to me. Why are you running around, networking with all these people and giving them other work, and you're not meeting quota?
Well, if I'm not meeting quota, here's the thing. If I'm doing all that, I'm absolutely meeting my quota. And if I'm not meeting my quota, it's because I'm not doing all that. It's that simple. I mean, people think that they do a lot here.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is. People think that they are. The question is, if I've worked out how to add more hours to my day. And so most people will work 8 hours, but their productive hours are about 2. So if I'm more productive, I study my calendar. I don't just work my calendar. I study it. I study it the night before. I know that the devil is found in white spaces. In my world, because I'm hyper, whatever it is, I can't. If there's empty spaces on my calendar, no good is happening right there. So I make sure that's all filled up. I know exactly when. And if it's not filled up, I'm cold calling. I'm talking to more people. I just have to do it. I have to get it out there. So I can be more productive. You give me 8 hours, I'm getting 7 hours of productivity. Then, I'm waking up early. I wake up early by 5:30 in the morning. I do a video every day and I post it in places every day. That's done by 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, we need to talk about those, by the way. I'm on some of those. Sometimes I'll step in on those. Oh, yeah. A lot of energy.
That's right. You see, it's all there. So, and people say, how do you do that? How do you get all that done? Or how do you keep getting new clients and all that stuff? It's because I'm doing all that stuff. And when people aren't doing all that stuff, again, everything's always found in the mirror. If someone's not interested in you, your product or your service, the offer is not compelling enough. That takes effort, guts, and you're taking a risk. Our service for our businesses, individuals is different, but for our businesses, we got no contracts. We say, listen, you'll get more new business inside of 30 days. No contracts, cancel anytime. It's $3,000 a month. Is that something you can afford right now? And if we don't work for you, just stop paying us, and I'll give you the money back. But I'm taking that risk. And I have people, I'm taking that risk and I'm doing that. Are you willing to take that? If you're really looking to make your numbers, are you really willing to risk looking like a fool making videos? Are you really willing to risk waking up early and having people tell you, hey, look at you, you're networking all those people, but you're not meeting your numbers? Are you willing to risk trying something new against everybody else and it working or not working and it's still trying something else? Most people aren't.
There's something you said earlier that I don't want to let it go, but I thought it was a nuance worth pointing out. You said it's all about adding value, not added value.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Well, listen, value is value. All right. And, people say, I'm going to add on this other piece of, well, why didn't you give it in the first place? I mean, if you're going to, you're actually making yourself less credible by adding that added value. And so just say, listen, this is what we give. If you want, I'm working with a client right now, and a client does something similar than us. They do business consulting. We just do sales, but they do business consulting. But part of their service is recruiting. And so what they'll do is they say, listen, here's our service, and recruiting is free. That's just part of the service. So it's free. And so like their value is that when they're competing against another recruiting company, it's like, we do exactly what they do, but so you're giving away their service for free. I mean, that's how you add more value without it costing you anything to do it.
Yeah. That's that's exceeding expectations.
Yes. Yeah. But all this is hard to do. It's hard. And so when people say don't work hard, work smart, I say, man, work hard and you'll look smart.
So where else are salespeople being unproductive?
Well, meetings. I work my life with activities, and there's because if you think about it, everything is an activity. Sleeping's an activity. So I touched on it earlier, but my calendar is very important to me because it dictates time, and time is all we have. And so I have two types of activities. I have money-making activities and non-money making activities. That's it. And if you can somehow figure out ways to turn more non-money making activities into money making activities, you'll find yourself more successful. And think in that way. Most salespeople will spend a lot of time in non-money making activities, not because.
For example, what's an example of some time wasters?
Not creating time to answer your emails and doing them all throughout the day. Not scheduling or time blocking your day.
Keep going. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm being rude. Good. Keep going.
You're fine. Not time blocking your prospecting time versus your preparing for your customers' time. Spending an inordinate amount of time in the middle of the day researching, or things that you could easily delegate to somebody else. And it's and again, all that white space that you make for yourself by delegating those tasks are times that you could be talking to more people, because when you talk to more people, you create more money-making opportunities.
We used to have this notion of sales time.
Oh, yeah. And windshield time. Remember the windshield time?
And windshield time. Right.
That is old school.
But sales time was this idea of like, there's this time between 9 and 5 when you can get people on the phone.
Oh.
And that's what you should be optimizing that time. If there's things you can do that you don't need to be on the phone, you should do that outside of sales time.
Yes. Yeah, but those times have all, because of what's going on with all this virus and people working from home, the combination between work time and home time is completely shifted. So it's anything goes right now. But you can magnify the time that you spend in front of customers using technology so simply now and so inexpensively now that it really is lazy not to do it. There, like this, for instance, we're creating this podcast right now.
Yes.
And this podcast will live on in infamy, forever.
Right. It's evergreen content.
Yes, but it's only evergreen content if it's continually used. So what's going to happen after this is made, after this is created? It's going to go on a newsletter. It's going to go on your podcast thing, but I'm going to have the recording and it's going to go on my podcast. It's going to be sent out on LinkedIn. It's going to be sent out on emails. It's going to be sent out on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube. It's going to be all over the place, constantly, over and over and over again. And it's free. And salespeople can make a video of your sales presentation, and you could email it out to 1,000 people in one day, but nobody does that. It just seems so easy. I don't know why they don't do it. You could send people texts with a link to a video which will explain your whole process. It puts you in front of them so quickly. I don't know why people don't do it. And those are money-making activities that you can, create incoming deals and then more full-on conversation.
This is a really good point. In fact, before we turned on the mics, we were talking about this very thing on how a new client that I have, what she really loved about the work, the reason she picked me was I have all this content that I've already created. And every time she'd ask a question, I go, oh, I wrote a blog on that. Oh, I did a video on that. You just
yes.
Copy, paste. And, she'd send me a question. She'd send me 10 questions. And I just go into my email and put copy, paste. And it just blew her away. She was like, damn, this guy's organized.
Because for someone who's disorganized, that's magic. I mean, that's magic. And that's what you want. That's what you want your customers or your prospects to think about you, not to the point where they say, I wonder how much he costs, but to the point where, crap, I hope I can afford them. You're that good. I hope I can afford them.
Wow.
And that's what you being so efficient does. And if someone's not, if a regular, I have this philosophy. I think salespeople of today need to be like sales armies of one. Gone are the days that you expect your job to give you a CRM. Have your own CRM. It's $30 a month. Get one. Gone are the days where you have to worry about them giving you leads. I mean, social media is out there. Make your own leads. Make your own process. Gone are the day where they're going to make your business cards. Make your own business cards. Be your own person. Create this whole world for yourself. It's possible, and then you get to call the shots. And if those type of administrative things that you're not good at, and perhaps you're really good at creating content, but you're not good at disseminating it out or organizing it that it's available for you, well, go get yourself a virtual assistant. It'll cost you, let's say, a couple $100 a month or a week or whatever, but that's working smart. That's taking control of your life, and that's treating your employer as just another income source, and you as the individual self-employed, immigrant type of mentality that you're just going to make something happen, and you're the center of the world, and you have different income sources coming in. And that's what gives the average salespeople the best business in the world. It gives you, the average salesperson, the ability to earn more money, get more customers, more profit, and ultimately true freedom.
I love that. It's like each seller is like they're their own little incorporation. They're their own little business. They're entrepreneurs. Sellers are entrepreneurs, and one of their clients is their employer.
Exactly. That's exactly, and it's just another income source. And that kind of mind shift all of a sudden opens your eyes to all sorts of other income opportunities that are all around you. So you have you become friends with another salesperson that sells a dissimilar product, but to the same end user. And so you say to that person, hey, listen, I that end user, you have some other clients, I'd like to get in there. I'll tell you what, if you give me some referrals and you give me some names of these people and I sell them my product, I'll give you a percentage of my commission, and vice versa. And you start partnering with all sorts of different things. And then you start having opportunities for real estate. And then you attain the American dream of true freedom as an entrepreneur. And it starts as being this is why I love it, Pat, because as a salesperson, you know how much it cost you to get into that job? Nothing. I mean, you didn't have
what kind of education do you need to be getting into sales?
That's right. There's a good Yiddish word. It means nothing, and it's gunish. You need gunish. Gunish. You start with nothing, and that's the beauty of sales. From nothing, you can make something. You find a buyer who wants something. You find a seller who's got it. You capture a little on the inside, and you've just created something. It's like that magic we talked about before.
You sure don't sound like you're a Georgian from Atlanta.
Oh yeah, I'm from South Alabama is where I'm really not.
I got your LinkedIn up here, and I'm going, it says Atlanta, Georgia, and I go, Dan just doesn't sound like he's a.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Brooklyn, but I moved out there when I was 2, and I was really brought up in New Jersey, where I think they still eat their young. And it's a crazy place. Up yours is a greeting. I mean, that's how they do it there.
Yeah.
But I came here to Atlanta one day, met a friend, and a friend took me to some party, met some girl, blonde hair, Southern accent, bakes pies. I'm like, this place is great. And so I went home. I moved here 2 weeks later. And that girl and I just celebrated our 25th anniversary. And so
that is awesome.
And she hasn't baked a pie since, but other than that, it's been great.
That was a what do they call it? Bait and switch.
Yeah. Yeah. She actually is a good story. It's a good sales story. I asked her out when I came here, and she said no, she had a boyfriend. And I asked that girl out 26 times. On the 27th time, every week I would ask her out, keep up in the ante. And finally, she agreed to go out with me. And I finally asked her, I said, why after all this time, after we were married, why did you agree to do that? And she said something which I think was a memorable sales lesson for me. She said, I figured if you were willing to work this hard to get me, you'd be willing to work equally as hard to keep me. And I thought
that's really sweet.
But I thought to myself then, and I've always remembered it, when you're prospecting and going after a client hard, it's flattering.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we go, we need to talk a whole lot more about you. Tell us about your LinkedIn show in the mornings.
Oh, my LinkedIn show. Well, when this whole virus started and I decided I got to get out there, it's unfair to me not to give my best during this time. And I decided to I'm going to start doing a video every day. And so I'm billed as the sales energizer. And so I have a little pump up video that I do every morning, 5 days a week. It's all fresh, new material. It's all just from experiences throughout the day and lessons that I learn, and just quick 2-minute videos. It's just my give back. And I can't tell you, Pat, the satisfaction that I've received from that, not just in new business and new clients and new activity there, but just the honest appreciation. Nearly every week, someone will contact me, call me, email me, text me. I'm very accessible, just to say thank you. I needed that today. And I think all our prospects and clients, some people you could walk in, people need a little light, it's some people walk into a room and brighten the place up, and some people brighten the place up when they leave. But I think people in all times, not just now, crave a little motivation and excitement and enthusiasm. And there's enough grumpiness out there. And it's not like someone's going to like you better. Like, even grumpy people don't like grumpy people. I mean, it's not like you're going to out grump somebody into friendship. And so my goal is to spread the love and to spread the, we're in a good place. This is America. I mean, every day we have an opportunity, and I never want to forget it.
So a couple things. If people wanted to work with you, and if they wanted to, and how would they find out about your Monday morning event?
Well, listen, there's a new website out. It's called Google, and on Google, just put Dan, D-A-N, Jourdon, J-O-U-R-D-A-N, Daniel Jourdon. And so Dan Jourdon, just pull that up and then link in with me. I accept everybody. I'll talk to everybody. Text me, find me, call me, what have you. And if you want to set up a free, 15-minute coaching call, I'm open for that. And get on my newsletter list, and all sorts of good things will happen to your life. You'll eat well, you'll live long, and you'll prosper.
Terrific. Well, Dan, thank you very much for babbling here on Sales Babble. This has been fun.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. And you're an excellent interviewer, because I realize my throat is sore. That means I've been doing a lot of talking.
Well, but it's all been good stuff. Pearls of wisdom, folks. Pearls of wisdom.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Sales Babble is sponsored by Habanero Media, a podcasting agency that produces B2B interview-based podcasts. A podcast is the premier way for a business to boost its brand, authority, influence, and trust. With podcasts, companies grow revenue by meeting influencer and prospects through the interview process. If you've ever thought about starting a podcast to grow your business, go to habaneromedia.net for advice, help, and classes on how to start a B2B podcast. That's habaneromedia.net with an H. Earlier this week, I was interviewed on Sam Wilcox's podcast called The Full Stack Sales Podcast. It's a pretty fun conversation, and it's interesting having the tables turned and me being the guest and Sam was interviewing me. There's some really great content there. I've made sure and placed that in the show notes, as I have links to Dan on the show notes too, which you can find at www.salesbabble.com. If you could like, share, and subscribe, make sure and share if you really enjoyed this, and subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Make sure and do that on whatever podcast app you are on. If you got any questions or comments, don't hesitate to reach out and connect with me on LinkedIn or click the Babble Me button. And don't forget to support our sponsors, Outreach.io and Habanero Media. Links for those can also be found at www.salesbabble.com. Next week, we'll have Kent Palmer on the podcast. He's going to talk about how you can get free leads at the library. There is a ton of databases in the library that are 100% free that have executives and phone numbers and addresses and sometimes even emails that you can reach out and do some prospecting with. Super interesting episode. You don't want to miss it. That's all I've got for this week, folks. Until next week, take care and have a highly successful and a profitable selling day.
Thank you for listening to the Sales Babble podcast. Find us at www.salesbabble.com.
This is a production of Habanero Media.